Well, good evening, everyone. This is with a real pleasure that we are here in your home for Thursday Night Live with Pastor Sarah Bertroni, where we get to discuss relevant topics. All right. First of all, I would like to thank my dear brother Robert for sitting in for me last week as I was on vacation. So he said he did such a wonderful job. And I'm sure you guys really benefited from all the information that he put forth out there to you in regards to immigration law. Brother Robert, I love you. Kudos to you. That's what brothers are for. Thank you so very much for sitting in for me. Well, tonight, I have a special guest who's going to be discussing, if you did see the flyer, who's going to be talking about the topic that is very relevant, which is the reopening of schools. We know that when churches were about to reopen, we had a couple of discussions on that. But now we are talking about the reopening of schools, which is very important. I have a guest tonight with me, so I'm going to read her bio real quick to you. She's a dear friend of mine for a while. We've known one another. So this is her platform tonight, and she will be able to give us all the information that will be very beneficial to us and our families as our children return to school. Her name is Nadij Azor. She is a doctor. So Dr. Azor was born and raised in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. Yes, Haiti. She relocated to Miami at the age of 17 with her three sisters, where she graduated high school. She then graduated with a bachelor's degree in psychology from the University of Pittsburgh, then later a master's degree in school guidance and counseling from Nova Southeastern University in Davie, Florida. In 2018, Dr. Azor, she earned her doctorate in health psychology. Dr. Azor has worked with children ages 3 to 19 for over 25 years and has been in public education for 18 years plus. She utilizes brief and solution focused approach to reach students and help them navigate their world. Dr. Azor currently resides near Atlanta, Georgia, with her husband of 18 years and her two teenage children. Dr. Azor, we welcome you tonight. Please
Thank
tell the
you.
viewers, always beautiful, always smiling. Please introduce yourself to the viewers and tell them a little bit more about what I just read from your bio. Go ahead, Doctor.
Well, thank you. Thank you, first of all, Pastor Bertoni, for thinking of me and inviting me. I am always thrilled to provide information when it comes to our kids and our youth. It's not something that I just do as a job. It's something I'm passionate about. So I'm constantly, researching new technique and looking into new ways into reaching the kids, because the kids I work with 18 years ago, they are not the same now. So you constantly have to be, to be evolved into helping the current the kids nowadays with new situation and new hardship. Um, so I am excited to be here, and again, it's going to be very informal. So any questions you may have, I'm not only. I use my own children, the two I have, as my guinea pig. So I use new technique on them. I use new punishment on them. I use new consequences on them. So it's not only things that I talk about, it's something that I also live. So I am excited to be here. So I think that's it.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so very much. Do you think you might stop by my house, sometime? You're using your kids as guinea pigs, to try the psychological techniques on them. Stop by my house and see.
Well, I am always looking for new cases. So, because, mine are used to my technique now. So I'm looking for new ones. So,
Of course, next time you stop in Florida, I'll be sure to bring you my little guinea pig, right?
Well, thank you.
All
Thanks.
right. All right. So great to have you again. Thank you for
Mhm.
gracing this platform with your presence. I do really appreciate you. And you said this is not a job, this is a passion, this is a calling, this is a vocation. And I can understand that when you are passionate about something, you're just not going after the mighty dollar. It
Mhm.
makes a big difference in the profession or whatever area that you
Mhm.
choose to be in. So thank you so very much
You're welcome.
for accepting to share some of the knowledge that you've gained over the years in psychology. Dr. Azor, again, thank you so much. So tonight we're discussing the reopening of schools. This is your forte, this is your domain. Ça c'est Alia Pau, ou bien 18 ans plus, soit travailler avec Timonio, and then you have 25 years in education. So ça fait Pau koto konen ou capable navigate and you navigate well in it. So Dr. Azor, your state, speak to us about your state that has made the headlines over the past week because of the reopening of school. And we all have seen, or um, most of us, if not all of us, have seen picture of that hallway who's like completely crowded with scores of high schoolers, and most of them were not wearing any masks.
Mhm.
So talk to us about what should parent feel like about the reopening of school when we have small children. This topic has been the topic of many great debates over the past few weeks, not only nationally but also at international level, because some countries like our country, our homeland, they're due to be going back to school soon, in September, I believe. So talk to us, Dr. Azor. What are we to expect as parents when we go to orientation, whether virtual orientation or face-to-face orientation, for our children to return to school? Please take it away.
Okay. So the thing is, I mean, yes, I mean, Georgia has been on the news, and my county where I work and reside, Gwinnett County, seems to be on the news almost every day. We were on the news yesterday. Is because um, it is such an unknown virus that's going on, and no one knows how to deal with it, and therefore they are rushing to to make things normal. So they're not taking the time to learn about it and then see what's best. It's really about let's rush things, through. So, in Georgia, there are several counties that already have schools that are closed. They already have counties that schools, that thinking of they're gonna close for the rest for the semester. So it's a give and take. I mean, for Gwinnett County, they starting online until the 26th of August, where they're going to have a gradual opening. So if you're in kindergarten and first grade, you're able to go to school. If you're ninth grade and if you're sixth grade, so then any introductory level can start going to school. And by September 9th, then everybody could go if you so choose to. Now, when I say if you so choose to, a parents are expert. They're expert at who their kids are. They're expert how their kids handle stuff. They're expert at the way their house run. So then, as that expert, you sit there and you need each parent needs to start thinking of, I know my child. I know how my child operates. I know how my child learn. I know what gets my child upset or anxious. Is my child ready to go back into the school? So if you have a kid that's very high anxiety or that's been watching too much news, and I know some parents have done that, they watch the news with the kids so they see all those numbers. So remember, kids are not able to um, separate or understand every single information. their brain is wired that way. So when they hear things, they think it's the end of the world or is the worst ever. So unless the parent actually sift through it, the compassoir, like, okay, let me, that's the information, but I'm going to sift it to see which one I'm going to give you. So kids don't understand every single thing. So if a kid has been inundated with a bunch of information about the virus, watching TV, then they might, have a very elevated, anxiety. So if you know that kid is not ready, then I would suggest that a parent start their kid from home and start doing some work. Start doing some, step by step. Okay, well, let's go to the store. If you wear your mask, or this is how you wash your hand. So you do the teaching. You're constantly teaching kids anyway. So that's a different thing that you're teaching them. Now, if you have that kid that get, depressed, or who wants to have that social interaction, and that child has been having a difficult time since school closed, it might be best for that kid to go back. But when having that kid come back, you also have to prepare that child. When you go to school, here's what to expect. Here's what to do. You could email the school and find out, okay, what your cleaning, system is going to be. I mean, do you have a new custodian? Do you have, how is the transition in the hallways going to be? Some schools gonna have, gradual, they're gonna dismiss gradually. So this class gonna go first, and then this class gonna go second. So you ask your school, what's their plan? Because then you have to look at that kid being at home mentally. It's not going to be helpful even with the virus. So then that's something that parents have to weigh in. Which is going to be worse for my child, starting school online or starting school face to face? So then, that's the thing that you cannot do. There's not a right or wrong. It's a matter of, and it should not be something that say, well, I'm busy, I'm tired of my child, I need to go, I need them to go. That's the wrong way to go. And I know most parents are tired of their kids, but you have to go with what exactly will be good for that kid. And it might be going to school.
Okay. So you are talking about, if I understand correctly, you have to be flexible in a way in order to adjust, to do timely adjustments as your child, the ones that are really, really anxious to go. And I would say that many of them, if not most, would like to go back.
Absolutely.
Middle schoolers, high schoolers, elementary school kids, they've started to develop that attachment, that bond with their little friends that they've been going through kindergarten with. Well, it's my friend and I don't get to see them anymore. Some of them can FaceTime. At times, some of them just cut completely from their little friends, and we can understand that. So it is a matter of knowing the child and to be flexible. So if the returning back to school does not work, then that child will eventually go back to distance learning online, like we were going from March. Okay, Dr. Azor, you are from Georgia. And in Chatham County, recently, with the deaths that you had, I think that county had over 5,000 deaths, and overall over 200,000 cases, positive cases. Now, out of those 5,000 deaths, unfortunately, there was a 7-year-old who passed away, and that 7-year-old, oh my God, I'm saying this and I have chills, had no underlying condition whatsoever. Now, is that a trigger for parents now who were borderline thinking about letting their children return to school on ground physically? Do you think that case with a perfectly healthy child just contracted the virus and then just dies with no other conditions? Do you think that will be like a keeper for the parents not to send their children to school? Because kids are kids. You can't ask them to wear masks. Even for us adults, it's hard to be with the mask for a long period of time. So do you think that would be a trigger that would keep parents from keeping their kids home rather than
absolutely. And I feel,
when
there is, it's not TV. Those are reality. So when you have people say, "Well, let's all go back," but then again, when he hits home, whether it's your family or a school age child, then you're like, "Well, let's pause for a little bit." So that definitely will be, and that's the reason why I think it's harder for elementary students to go back. I think as a parent, I would be more skeptical about sending elementary kid because again they are not understanding the social distance. Like you said, they hardly can keep that mask on that even adults can't. And and the washing of hands, and we've had kids, we know how they could be nasty, so let's just put it out there. They're not doing they're not the cleaning, they don't always do the clean stuff. So then when you think of that and you're thinking like, you could tell your 7-year-old or your 10-year-old all the right thing, but you don't know what other parents are telling their kids. They might come from a home that says that virus doesn't exist and it's not true. So therefore, don't worry about it. So then when you have those, opposite um, understanding of the virus or opposite, point, so then that puts your child at risk. So absolutely. So and that's what I said. It's not something that I don't even think the state or the county should make. It something that a parent should stay at home and see what their level of comfortability. And if they're not comfortable, then just don't do it. Because the thing is, being where having that worry all the time is not healthy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not healthy for that person on health, but it's not healthy also for the kids. So the elevated stress also now will impact the physical health. So
Mm-hmm.
which put you at more at risk for the virus. So then that's like that, that effect right there, that stress, then virus. So then it's better if you're not comfortable, then it's best just not to do it. And that's something that um, I know some parents don't have the choice, and that's where it's a whole different thing. They don't have the choice. I have to go to work. I don't have money at home. So then, why do I do? But then again, that's when you do the training about if there's other people in the hallway, as a teacher, can you go last? And school's going to have to be flexible when it comes to stuff like that. So if my child said, I want to be the last one to leave where everybody else is gone, then that's what my child needs to do.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
Right. So let me clarify about the data. It's about 4,000 deaths in your state, in the state of Georgia,
mhm,
and over 200 cases.
mhm.
And overall, it's about 4,000 26 deaths and 74 deaths in Chatham County where that child passed away.
Yeah.
And of
And
course,
if you look at that though, and that's the same thing at home when the leadership from your home, what the kids see as the parents do, that's what they, emulate. It's the same thing when it comes to the government. So
mhm,
if you look at the states where the leadership is, lackadaisical about it, then you have higher cases. So it's just a matter of um, at this point, it's about personal choices, and
mhm.
it's and you have to take it personally and say, "Hey, this is I'm going to do that for my kids. So they're not going to help me. So what do I do for my own family, for my own kid?"
Right. I know you spoke about your household, how you
Hmm.
preparing your children,
Hmm.
but take it a notch higher. How is your school system preparing to receiving those kids that are going to be returning back to school?
Okay. Now, of course, from talking about my school system, I'm only talking about what has been shared with us. So
Right.
whether it's going to actually take place or
Right.
plausible is a whole different thing.
Correct.
So, like I said earlier, that they are, doing a gradual, they get that. I think the kids coming gradually. So the reason why they start with the, kindergartners, ninth grade, sixth grade, those are the kids that are transitioning into a new grade level to a new school, most likely. So therefore, they're not used to what's going on there. So then they're gonna have them go first. So after a week and a half, then they're going to introduce other grade level. And then, like I said, by September 9th, then everybody who have chosen, now they send a survey out for parents to choose, do you want to do face to face or do you want to do online virtual school? So then the parents have chosen for their kids to do virtual school will remain at home. They will still receive their instruction. They receive a Chromebook from the school, and then nothing is held against them. For those who chose to go, face to face, then they could start doing that. They have stuff in place when if you don't feel well as a staff member, it doesn't matter what it is. If you don't feel well, to stay home. If you've been exposed to somebody who has COVID, you have to stay home for 10 or 14 days. um, they have, with students. So it all depends on how long the exposure was. So if you were in somebody's presence for like 15 minutes or more, then the risks are higher than if you just walk, by that person. And they also doing gradual, release when it comes to changing classes. So the point is not to see what you see. The pictures you've been showing is from Paulding County. So Gwinnett County is saying that we're not doing that. So we're not gonna have mass, like you just ring the bell and everybody's in the hallway. So then you're gonna have one-way traffic. So for example, if usually kids going, both ways. So what their plan is you're gonna have to go all the way down and then turn around to the other hallway to go to your classes. So then if you have one-way traffic, it tends to be more much better. So of course they're gonna be providing us with masks. They provide with gloves. They're gonna provide us with hand sanitizer in the hallway, so kids could actually, and the automatic one where you could just put your hand that provide.
Right.
So they're gonna provide that in the hallway. So that's the plan. So let's see. And the hope was only half of kids come to school and half say virtual. So therefore, you could social distance in
Okay.
the classroom. So we don't know what's going to happen. But here's the kicker, though. They cannot provide social distancing on the bus. So then you could have kids going on the bus, have like 50 kids all sitting next to each other. But as soon as they get to school, then you're going to social distance. It doesn't add up, but you know, that's the plan. So we just that kind of remain to be seen how it works when kids start coming around. Like I said, in 2 weeks.
How it's gonna roll out.
Exactly.
Of course, it's
I
gonna
mean,
take trial and
exactly.
error before you
And
get it
that's the thing,
effective.
though. Yeah, that's the thing, though, and I think that's what we are asking of, I guess parents, and
Right.
we're asking of staff is to be flexible, to be
Right.
like a willow. It's just like,
Okay.
it's just like just go with it because it's all
Yes.
new to everybody.
Yes.
Ask the
And
teachers to be understanding of the parents that are frustrated. Because I mean, if they're upset, don't take it personal. And we're asking the parents also to be understanding of the teachers who's trying to maneuver Zoom and Google Meet and all this, stuff. And we have, all the teachers that never, that's not even, no technology. And you're asking them to actually create a whole thing
yes.
on Google
Right.
Meet.
Yes. Right. I tell you, I'm so very happy and pleased to have you. And I am so proud to have you as one of our own in the Haitian community. I love to bring professionals from Haiti. Yes, yes. Haitians. Yeah, we Haitians. We're Haitians. All right. So, whoop, whoop, whoop. All right, Dr. Azor, it's wonderful. Great, great, great information. So, as I read your bio, it says that you utilize brief and solution focused approach
Mhm.
to reach to the students and help them navigate their world. So, I'm not sure how long ago this bio was, if it was pre COVID or middle COVID or now COVID. But please tell us comment qu'on pral utiliser that brief solution focused type of technique, positive solution type of technique to help the student navigate this world that we're living in right now. Has your approach has your approach changed? What was it like pre and then now? Please
See, that's the
share
thing.
with us.
That's the thing with brief, therapy or brief counseling or solution focus, because there's what it does is you already assume, and not assume, it is a fact that there's always situation, there's always difficulty, there's always, um, you know, uh, hurt. So what you do with the brief solution is that you do not focus on the problem. You identify the problem. What is the problem? Right now, COVID is a problem. We have to go back to school. Anxiety is a problem. Okay, so once you identify the problem, so then let's work on the solution. And the solution is: are you going to go face to face, or are you going to go, virtual? If it is, I'm going to do virtual. So okay, so then now we have a solution. So then now, how can we help you with that solution? So if you're doing virtual, so then how are you going to get up in the morning? So I might tell the kid, okay, you get up in the morning, you're gonna, take a shower, brush your teeth, have breakfast, like you're going to school. You're gonna find a very comfortable spot around the house where you could actually sit there. And then once you do that, you prepare your lunch already, like you're going to school. So once you feel overwhelmed and then the school day is over, take a break. It's done. It is done. So don't go back at it. Don't try to understand it. Once your brain is on overload, it's on overload. So it's always funny when you have parents, and I know, I guess I'm from motherland Haiti. You have to sit there and study until but I think it's because of the misunderstanding of how the brain works. When the brain is saturated, it's done. So then you need to give the brain a break. So that's when you either do meditation, or you might go and walk, you run. I even use now something called virtual calming. So it's basically, you could just type that on Google, virtual calming, and they have all kind of videos and technique for you to do virtual calming. I use grounding. Grounding basically means forget about the problem, the past, or the future. Concentrate on the now. So you concentrate on your feeling at this moment, and then you try to help yourself get grounded about what's going on right now. Because if you're thinking of the future, then it escalates the stress. If you're thinking of the past, then you're like, I wish it was. So then you're living in the wish, world. And we're not living the wish. We have to live in the moment. So then we use the grounding technique. And the brief thing, okay, not to be okay. And when you're not okay, step back and then come back. So it works. And that's the whole thing about, the brief, count. It helps in every single thing. And we don't
That's
want
good. That's good right there when you say it's okay not to be okay. And when you
absolutely.
are not okay, step back so you can
Yes,
have a comeback.
exactly.
But the thing with us in our community, we are always okay. We are always
Mhm.
we always have that mask on as if everything is okay.
Well,
And
we're not about denial now. There's nothing about being in denial.
right. And we
Saying
are
it's okay and
crumbling
not
on the
feeling
inside.
okay.
Okay.
Saying it's okay, and that's the reason why in our community you have all the high blood pressure and diabetes. That's an impact of stress and undiagnosed issues,
Mm-hmm.
because faking it till you make it, but faking it doesn't make it. It's fine.
Mm-mm.
So you might say, "Oh, I'm good." But even when you get, as Christian, even the Bible, you said, there are times. I mean, when you look at it, with Job, he was, crying, say, "Hey, I mean, what is going on here? Help me out over there." You had Moses that go, "Well, hello now." So it's a misconception that crying or saying that I can't is a sign of weakness. Staying in that state of mind is a problem.
Correct.
But being in that state of mind is okay.
All right.
So then it's one thing to say it's okay, but what I'm going to do and how do I fix it? So it's always, like I said, when it comes to the breath therapy, it's always about a solution, not just, well, I mean, I'm going to brush it off, but what is a solution?
So
So
you,
when
you
you
call
come
it
to,
brief therapy, brief solution therapy?
correct.
Okay.
So then when it comes to me, and
I'm gonna do some briefing around my house.
the reason why we use brief is because we're not doing 15 minutes like a therapy session. Like, I have kids in class. I mean, I don't want to keep them in my office for 50 minutes. So you're going to come to my office upset. What's going on? I'm upset. Why are you upset? Well, the teacher said something. Okay. So then, breathe, calm down, because I'm not going to try to fix it, because you have to calm down first. So once they finally calm down and they're able to clear their mind, said, okay, so how did he start? What was the trigger? How it could have been differently? So what do you think you should do next time? So then at that point, they calm down. They actually, in retrospect, think of what went wrong. They're
Mhm.
able to identify it so they could fix it for the future. And then they go back to class and don't repeat again, hopefully. But that's what it is, because if you don't identify what the problem is, you're going to keep on doing the same thing.
Right, correct. So, how do they navigate to this world right now? Fast forward, you're in your office,
Mhm,
COVID-19, schools are reopened,
mhm,
and you have children who are absolutely
mhm,
discombobulated. They come to
mhm,
your office, whether their grandma had COVID or
mhm.
an aunt just died of COVID. So, how do you help them navigate to that world right now, presently?
The thing is, it's always to acknowledge the kid's feeling. You don't want to say, oh, okay, yeah, yeah, okay, what's next? So you have to let them express themselves and let them be in the moment, because sometimes that's all they need. They want to be heard. So then you listen to what's going on. So a kid come to me and say, that's what's going on, that's what's happening. I lost grandma, and I'm so then you talk to them. How did that make you feel? How is going on? How the family's doing? And you connect with them so they know that you care for them. It's not only about the grades. And if that day they're having a breakdown and they cannot concentrate, I will tell that kid, don't worry about geometry. I will. Geometry is the least of their problem right now when they are suffering mentally and physically at that point. So I mean, it's geometry is great, but it's not going to save that kid, that day. So I'll say, okay, don't worry about geometry right now. So you're gonna be just fine. You have another day for you to do. You have the rest of the year really to do geometry, so you will pass. So don't think you're not going to pass. So because that's usually their worry, that, oh my god, if I don't. So then I put, them, I talk to them to for them to calm down, to realize that, okay, let's not talking about the grades, let's not talking about the teacher right now, it's about you, so let's talk. So then I allow them the space to share their feeling, to share their hurt. And then when they start internalizing that, say, I'm next, or I'm gonna whatever, then I try to bring them back to reality. Because out of time, again, with the student, the way their brain works, the where the reasoning happened has not developed yet. So then they just whatever they hear, they just go at it. So then you have to bring them to reality. So when you find you don't challenge their thinking, you help them navigate to the proper thinking. So if they say, well, I'm gonna get COVID, or my friend's, grandma died, my grandma gonna die too. So then you try to actually get, okay, why do you say that? Why do you feel that way? So then what's what your family has been doing to protect grandma? So then to bring them back to their life, not somebody else's, because what they see, they think happen to them. So then once you bring them back into their world, their life, their situation, and help them um, think through it, and in a rational way, then most of the time they are able to actually get a sense of safety and calmness. Um, I have a student, I received a message today. The kid is overwhelmed and have anxiety about Zoom. So basically, I call the kid. I'm like, okay, I know it's crazy. It's all crazy. Nobody knows. Teacher doesn't know either. So come, just be, relax, breathe. It's gonna be fine. We have the rest of the year to figure it out. And that alone tell the kid that, okay, I don't need to learn it on the second day of school, because that, this is the second day when they come back. And child is already overwhelmed by second day. I'm like, we're not doing that. So again, it's to bring it to their level. So once they worry, and then you say, hey, it's okay to cry. You want to cry into my office, cry. You want to yell, yell. Just don't cuss, because that's not nice. But allow them to do everything. Yeah.
I'm gonna bring you to the bathroom and wash your mouth.
I know, no, you cannot cuss in my office, but if you want to scream, that's okay. So,
Yeah,
and that's the thing though, it's really about reframing it for the kid. And that's very important for parents to know is reframing and retraining.
that's
You
what I was gonna ask about. The
Yes.
three I was going to ask about the three R's of psychology. How do you apply that? Or comment appliquer, comment exécuter pour ti moun nan in a way like they don't think they are. You just, ou juste ap fait comme guinea pig, but that you are really helping them, but
Mhm.
using the techniques. And if I might say, it's very important that we take professionals seriously. Okay, si nous pas professionnel at something, you're not professional at counseling. Don't be counseling at professional level. You are not a counselor. You don't have a license. You have no techniques. You don't. All right. I can
Amen to that.
I can pray with you, but I'll send you to that
Yes. And I
that.
think that's our community. I mean, that's a major issue in our community because you have people say, oh, we're just going to pray about it. But you could pray and seek help at the same time. There is nothing wrong with praying and seek professional help. I mean,
Right.
they
As,
could go in
as,
hand. Yeah,
as a
exactly. So
professional, what are what do you do with those three R's? Please give us some.
absolutely, it's gonna be brief. Like I say, brief counseling, everything brief. So that's a part of the when I use a brief solution technique with the students. Because a lot of them come with a faulty idea, with a faulty understanding of things. So then in doing, and the thing is, I don't tell them. I think a lot of people think when it comes to counseling or even therapy, I'm going to tell you and then you're going to do it. No, 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 that's not the way it goes. It's to ask the question in such a way that the person understand what's going on and they find their own solution. Because if I tell you, if for example, I want something, somebody say, hey, I need to lose, 40 pounds. And I said, well, then just do this. A lot of time, that's why diet failed because people just say do this, but that might not work for me. And if I like rice because I'm Haitian, don't tell me not to eat rice. So it's
What?
not a one size fits
Madam, wap suiv, papa. Don't tell me to eat no rice, no
all.
bread.
Yes,
That's for you.
exactly. It's not a one size fits all, so you cannot tell me that. So that's the thing. So that's my point. So that's the thing with the kids. So when you think about retraining, so you had to look at them from their own perspective, from their own culture, and from their own family, because you don't want the kid to do something that culturally is not acceptable. So then you kind of get the information from the kid and interjects, things that is doable within their culture. So then we do you retrain them. So basically, you just tell them that you're gonna learn new skills. So when you're doing virtual, you might think like, oh my God, it's gonna be the worst. But no, just see it as, oh my God, I'm gonna learn something new. I'm gonna learn Zoom. I'm gonna learn distance learning. So you retrain them to think of it as, instead of something terrible and negative, as, oh, you're learning a new skills. So once you put it that way for the kid, then they see it eventually as, oh, it's not as bad as I thought. So it's that retraining. You look at alternatives. You look at a different way of doing something. So you look at different way of learning in case of school. So it's not only the teacher comes, the teacher says something and you leave. So you have to do some work. You have to do Zoom. You are doing chat room. So then look at it as a different way, an alternative. Then once you do that, then you could do reframing. So that's a little bit harder to do when it comes to especially teenagers. Is to put stuff in a positive way. It's it is terrible indeed, but what can we learn from it? How can we go about it? How can we live within it? So that's the reframing of is to find the positive in it, is to search for the bright light, no matter how small it is. I always tell kids, it doesn't matter how small something happy is, make it big. Make it big. And in terms of the weight, as if you're supposed to lose 40 pounds, you lose 1 pound in 2 weeks, you have a party. Now don't eat, because you're going to get that 1 pound back, but then celebrate it. But if you say, oh, that's so terrible, I'm such a loser, then you just set yourself back every time. I'm going to give up. No, you celebrate the small step. That's a reframing. It's to understand that that's what was given to me. That's what COVID has been, is there. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. Now, how am I going to hide and not live, or am I going to live with it? So how do you live with it? So then that's when you say, well, you take this, you wash your hand, you do this, but you could still live within it. So then you look at the situation differently. So it's not like it doesn't exist. And that the reframing is not a denial. It's not like, oh, it doesn't happen. It's basically is you're looking at it. Is this a situation? Is different. So that's Dr. I'm gonna spell it because it's like, Dweck is Dweck. She came up with the growth mindset because she realized that some people were like, it's like kids will be like, oh my God, I'm so stupid, I'm so dumb, I'm so blah blah blah. So therefore, would not do what the work that they need to do to improve. But when the kids change that mindset, instead of I can't, say, oh my God, that's difficult, I need to do more work, success occurs. So then that you have that same kid that come from I can't to I need to do better, or I cannot do it yet. So they put the yet, meaning that I'm going to do what it needs to, what it takes for me to get better. So when you change that growth mindset, so basically, there's two kind of mindset, according to her, is there's fix. So you just think this is it. It's whether I'm smart, I know it or I don't know it, or nothing's going to change. That's who I am. And there's a growth mindset, which basically said that you could change, you could do better, you could change the outcome. It might take work, it might take sweat, it might take, pain, but it doesn't mean that I cannot. I mean, I always use the kid. Well, if I have you may have two kids. One get an easy A I'll take a test and get the easy A and did not study at all. But you have that one that said, see, so and so is smart, I'm not smart, so therefore don't do the work. Of course, kid gonna fail. But that same kid might say, something, I need to study, a week before. I need to study a little bit at a time. I need to spend time studying. I need to spend time doing quizzes. I need to spend time doing different technique. That same kid also gonna have that A. So forget about how easy the one kid got it. It's a matter of the result. And that's the change. That's how I work with the kids to let them know that now you have the choice. It might take you longer, but it's not like it's impossible. And the last thing is the resilience. Resilience. And that's a major thing right now. And even for adults, is basically resilience is not give up. Fight through it. It doesn't mean you're not going to have hardship. It just means that you're going to fight through that hardship. So being resilient is major, because then if you think that every time you're faced with a situation, now I have to be honest, because I always tell my kids, I'm going to tell it like it is. So I'm going to tell the audience like it is. Kids sometimes don't have resilience is because of the parents. They don't want the kids to face any kind of hardship. They don't want the kid to feel any pain. If that kid has a C, they want to call the school to do the work, now. Or if, even as a young kid, if the kids fall and you want to carry that kid and, oh my God, I can't believe, no, that kid fell and then they're going to cry and they're going to be fine. Then that kid learned that, okay, that's what that pain feels like. Maybe I should not be jumping from, the third floor anymore or something like that. But parents don't want their kids to feel any pain. They don't realize that in the long run, they are, removing for the kids' ability to be resilient or to fight through stuff. And a lot of time, again, I'm sorry, parents, I know, please don't stone me, but a lot of it is, the parents, it's come from the parent. So the kids doesn't know what it is to be, for things to be difficult. So it is okay for the kids to, say, oh, I can't believe, oh, you have an F, don't you? Okay, you're going to be in punishment, but next time I want this. I'm not calling the teacher and say, well, can so and so, can you please give that kid an extra credit? No, I might tell my child to go ask the teacher because you didn't study, but I'm not fixing it. So parents always want to fix it for the kids. They want to fix it. I don't want my kid to, to go through what I went through. And sometimes I'm like, did you turn out that badly? I mean, sometimes it is, but you're like, when you say, I don't want you to go through what I don't want, it's like, I mean, now you learn something. Now remember, people learn through difficulties. If things are fine, you don't learn. You only learn the lesson when it was painful because you remember the pain, then you deal better with the future. But if you never have the pain, then how do you deal with it?
Very true, very true. In terms of resilience, Dr. Azor, um, there is a quote that says it's not the fittest. From what I'm trying to understand, it's like, so it's only the fittest that will survive in this thing. But there is a quote that says, if it's not the fittest, it's not the strongest or the most intelligent who will survive, but those who can best manage change and
That's
adapt.
the best quote ever.
That
Love that quote. Send that to me later.
yes, absolutely. On your way right now. So would you say that it's not about who's smarter, who's the strongest, but it's the one who can adapt. It's the one who's flexible. He's the parents who's allowed. Like this morning, I was talking to my middle schooler. I said, well, with school coming up, even if you're not going on grounds, we have to get up every morning at a certain time, and I would like to go to the library. So we change the setting every day. They're not sitting at a dining room table or in an office, or and it's no change. So would you say that's a good approach to go if the libraries, of course, I know about social distances and so on and so forth, to get up at the same time and then go, leave the
Absolutely.
house, leave
Create
the
the
house.
routine. Yeah, I mean, create the routine. Like you get
Yeah.
up, you take a shower, you eat breakfast, and I mean, I know some places. I mean, like I said, they allow. And if you have a hot spot, go to the park. Now it might be hot, but then again, go to the park. So create and make it a way where the kid doesn't feel because it is. I mean, you have to be in their shoes. You have to think how difficult it is. It is hard. And for us to think that it's not, or to tell them, well, like in our culture, it's só como só sai dizer que o problem. It is that it is a problem for them. So take them, either you take them somewhere else, or if you have another, if you have another friend that have the same school age, maybe change houses. I mean, that might be the whole different thing because they'll see, oh, you're doing your work and I'm doing my work, but so when there's lunchtime, so they talking to somebody else, and don't do that for like 3, 4 kids because then that makes it more difficult. But again, if it's a one person that that it's safe to go to their house, then do that, but make it a change for the kid and create some fun thing for them. I mean, even if it's on Friday night, you could buy like something. It's gonna be family movie night. So we're gonna rent a movie or get something on on Prime, and then we're gonna get popcorn, nachos,
Do they
and
still rent out movies, Dr. Azor?
what is it?
Do they
Where do,
still rent out movies? I'm just messing with you. I said, do they still rent out movies?
yes, they do. It's on Prime Video
Oh, okay. All right.
or Redbox. Hello, still there.
Okay. Okay.
So
Yes,
then
go
it's
ahead.
the
Go ahead.
movie night. So then the kids they get to, and you could do something. You do the popcorn, well, pop it, but they're making something, and then you get some chicken wing and you make it and you sit at home and you watch a movie and something as a family. So then you create. I mean, if you are the type that goes to the movie with the kid, you create at home. If you're the type that you don't want to go out to eat, but do check take out. You pick
Mhm.
it up and you go home. You set the table and then you just so you're gonna have to create you know some other alternative for the kid.
Yes,
But
yes,
again,
absolutely. So now I'm going to interject. M'bral stopper là. The next 10 minutes, Dr. Azor, m'bral demander tous viewers, que ce soit si n'a regardé sur Facebook, n'a pral commenter et puis n'a pas partager kounye, hein, parce que m'bral demander Dr. Azor pour le partager avec famille nous yo en créole parce que si ou sur YouTube tout, ou gen doit remen broadcast ça, remen, commenter et partager sur YouTube et puis tout abonner à YouTube channel Sarah Batroni. Alright, Dr. Azor, encore merci. Kounya nous toutes nous mettre commencer partager, laguer yo sur groupe yo, laguer yo by individu que nous connaît, laguer broadcast ça parce que nous avons professionnel haïtien qui a bonne information dans bon timamite, même Jean Robert Duvernay te ba nous bon Jean information dans bon timamite semaine dernière là. Ça c'est extraordinaire, ça c'est merveilleux. Donc, moi, toujours voulais encourager ça. So, Dr. Azor, qui sont capables de dire à un parent qui ne parle pas l'anglais, OK? Même si la langue orientation ne pas comprendre, bon, à faire orientation virtuelle, là même, forget it. Parce que il y a dit oui, à www.schools and this. Moun n'a pas compte bagay comme ça. So, qui sont capables de dire parents ça yo dans l'époque COVID ça et ti moun nan li même li master li kon lang nan la viro la tourner l'horloge ou la dou non mais c'est pas ça yo dou même si tu voulais comprendre même si tu voulais tant non yo dou non c'est pas ça yo dit et pas ça teacher a dit là. So what do you say qui ça pral dit à parents ça yo comment pour moun ça yo navigate est-ce que gen aide qui disponible dans tout système scolaire là pour parents qui basically pas parler anglais me qu'on va voir bagay en créole tout là ou flip the page yo mettez en anglais en espagnol et en créole mais gen parents nous yo qui parlent oui gen parents haïtiens yo parlent so qui
parle créole
oui yo parlent mais yo parlent ou gen a parler langue non on parle so qui sont à parents ça yo Dr. Azor et encore viewers, s'il vous plaît, partagez parce que nous flip kounya dans partie créole. Dr. Azor, your turn.
Oui, ça vient arriver avec parents, surtout parents et haïtiens, nous yo. Ça me dit c'est que même si vous pas parler langue, même si vous pas comprendre, même si vous pas comme ça qu'a fait, non rien. Mais sans supposé faire ou qu'a toujours suivre ça ti moun a fait. Garder ça l'a fait. Toujours dans computer, toujours dans téléphone. Il dit que parce que ti moun la PC est cachée, mais l'aile ou parce que poser question dit ça est là. On croit être bagay. Poser la question parce que l'aile supposé à faire devoir ou bien l'aile supposé faire lire même si pas dans côté pour l'aller ou qu'a dit OK, mes papiers là essayer faire les marche ta devant on ça va faire. So, en temps pour ça faire, m'a tout apprendre tout et puis m'a suivre moi soit faire ça supposé faire. Il dit que ou pas besoin et intelligence pas besoin que ou connaisse ça et ou pas besoin comme computer mais sous suivre ti moun. Si ti moun non ouais que ou curieux ou dans affaire ou là de ce côté OK, soit fait là. Côté moi ça fait là. Poser la question. Continuellement poser la question. Et puis, l'elfin fait li. Wap ka ouais, OK, moi la fond devoir. Et puis, ou ka communiquer avec professeur et tout, ou communiquer avec eux, ou dire OK. Et parce que toute l'école qu'on y a là, il y a monde qui parle langue. Parce que même boy c'est dans tout, si on pas envie de parler espagnol, il y a monde qui on va dire que OK, dis-moi tel bagage, dis-moi est-ce que c'est vrai. Si on cherche information peut-être pour dans langue là, so let mon à boulot zéro qu'a dit et pas ça te dit non.
Yes.
Et dit que c'est et faire effort pour aller l'école là, pas problème qui gagne tout tellement dépend de ti moun pour traduire pour nous qu'on y a ti moun envie de master qu'on y a. Il y a envie de master, mais quand ou ka si mais ti moun pour aider mais aussi mon si vous connaissez que OK c'est un film moyen il supposé et suivre ça parent c'est pas aucune raison pour parents pas chita là pour voir ça ti mon a fait pour parce que si mon pas arrêter dans devoir longtemps si la font bagay qui pas mal il va dans YouTube il va dans bagay il va de musique so sous chita là côté là la pour obligé à faire devoir parce que la dit ah madame ça beaucoup de là so la 10 ans million on pas parler connaître parce que you know
Yes,
maman
yes.
côté là m'gé pas côté là so quand me fait devoir m'aller l'hôpital so même si tu
Yes.
m'en fait devoir pour une temps au moins qu'on font bagaille quand même.
Mhm. Et ceci, ça dit, hein, c'est très vrai parce que nous qu'on attend des histoires, mon Haïti, grand monde longtemps Haïti qui levait Timoun, ou qu'on voit leur fin bat packer, histoire d'Haïti, géographie,
Mhm.
sciences, civique, etc. Yo kembe leçon, yo pas qu'on lit, yo pas
Mhm.
qu'on lit, yo kembe leçon pour Timoun nan, si Timoun nan man kon mot, yo kale li. Pour qui ça parce que le yo tap, le Timoun nan tap.
Est-ce que dit vous dit ou pas connaître ça.
Yes, al chita al etudye lankor. So yo fè konen ke gen gran moun ki pa kon li, e poutan lè yo kembe leçon pou ti moun nan, puisque yo te la yo tap tande sa ti moun da tap repete. Yo tande sa tap repete. Kounya lè yo vin kampe devan pou yo resite leçon an, yo pa kon leçon, yo man kon mot, vlap, al chita apren ni, pas yo pa konen. Poutan yo pa kon li. Donc yo gon certaine intelligence que bon Dieu ba yo pour yo capable naviguer through life. On le bagay que m'ta remen dit tout, haïtien trop orgueilleux, nous gen trop pride. L'on pas qu'on est mandé, ça veut dire que j'en dis, c'est pas ti moun nan tout temps pour traduire pour. D'ailleurs, dans le monde médical, l'on al un docteur ou mettre à avec maman, que des fois yo pas quitté ou traduit pour maman. C'est l'autre monde qui peut venir traduire pour moun nan. Donc, au lieu que pour ce petit monde qui traduit pour toute la journée, mandez voisine, mandons amis qui parlent anglais, dis amis qui leur bien temps besoin à l'école là parce que me pas laisser un tel qui peut traduire pour moi, l'elle traduit pour moi, elle dit salve li virement on pas comme ça y a dit tout bon vrai. Donc, me pas parler anglais, viens avec moi, en pile mon a fait le plaisir pour accompagner yo. Si yo pas qu'on parle anglais pour aller joindre bonne qualité d'information à la source côté information.
L'école yo tout gen moun sa yo qui travaille dans county que si gon conférence qu'a fait ou besoin moun traduire pour ou, yo voyon moun vinn traduire pour. So ou ka mande ça dit pa gen moun qui pour traduire même pas comprendre so besoin moun so y a men on moun na county na district qui pour venir donc dit que ba yo là pour aider dit que pas ka juste dit pas connaît parce que les cause ça moun na connaît comme tout hein ti moun connaît c'est grand moun nié les dou salvé les changer pour les salvé et moi ça arrivé en pile bon côté avec ti moun panyol. Puis notre petit monde a dit il vini il traduit pour maman mais même pas qu'on parler point même comprendre assez point so là c'est pas ça me dit là pas parler avant que machin d'autre monde vini traduire parce que mais faut faire et t'as quoi dire demander aide c'est pas un bail qui mal lié so faut retirer ça dans tête nous que ah mon connaît pas bagay non ou pas connaît c'est pour aider petit monde. C'est si vous mettez dans tête tout m'a fait ça pour m'aider petit monde moyen pour m'aider petit monde moyen gain succès j'en supposé faire succès so retirer ça dans tête tout.
Yes. So gen une question nous pral wrap up Dr. Azor. Gen une question qui dit comment nous capable aider petites nous pendant les heures d'école, des heures de travail, le petit monde n'a pas vle chita pour le temps des professeurs. So comment nous capable aider un petit monde comme ça?
OK. Mais il y a plusieurs réponses parce que ça fait une bagachita. Est-ce que c'est parce que ti moun you know les pas aimé chita ou bien les pas habitué chita pour longtemps? Est-ce que c'est parce que les ba l'enrage, c'est parce que le connaît que pas quelqu'un moun nan calé ka faire chita? So il y a plusieurs raisons pour demander exactement qui ça fait une bagachita attendez. Parce que Jean l'école a fait le konya là et sous t'es dans classe, sous chita. Si tu est-ce que tu m'as l'école l'année passée, est-ce que tu l'école est-ce que tu as caché attendez? So si tu m'as caché attendez l'école là, qui technique utiliser dans l'école là que pas qu'à utiliser la caille. Et il y a des petits monde yo juste connaît que yo ka fait ça over la caille yo. Parents pas dit yo qui bagarre ou bien parents yo pas vle et yo met des santé yo tout dire ben OK m'a ton repos. C'est ça que fait ça pour sortir dit par ce Batroni. Sous retirer ti moun nan kay lan wal nan côté avec li dans librairie ou aller dans parc avec li pour faire li on l'autre côté. So s'il tellement difficile dans point ça pour ti nan pas arrêter dans kay lan pour faire li retirer li dans côté li. parce que les trop habitués avec côté lien. So, leur retirer les ou mettre de l'autre côté, la page même, les supposés agir, j'en supposé faire là. On le bat au café tout, parce que le professeur parle avec eux tout pour dire, mais ça est supposé faire, mais comment pour faire? So, le professeur a agi dans la classe et t'as coulé online, même gens que c'est dans la classe santé. La prele les moun nan, la bay ti moun nan punition, la pe fait gen bagay supposé faire pour ti moun nan konnen que kounya c'est dans classe ou yé, pas gen jouet pour jouer. On a bagay que parents ka fait tout, c'est que commencer depuis kounya avant l'école ouvri, commencer pratiquer à ti moun nan. Faire lever dans matin, faire chita et puis mettre un programme pour les cas faire un peu de devoir pour comment les pour commencer à entraîner parce que ti moun fait depuis un mois si j'étais à la caille a jouer pas faire rien qu'on même après 5 mois plus tard pour dire chita fait devoir ça vraiment vrai c'est pour ti moun là mais commencer à entraîner les pour qu'on est OK il pas différent qu'on y a là pas différent chita fait devoir OK ou bali 1 heure de temps jeudi dans demain matin bali 1 heure de temps et demi mais bien sûr pipiti ti moun pipiti un ti moun qui gagne 6 ans pour dans kindergarten li déjà difficile déjà parce que même là tu dans l'école l'école prend professeur à tout en premier semestre avant ti moun nan réussi qu'on est pour chita ça veut dire que ça dépend de l'âge ti moun nan mais au cas toujours montrer ti moun nan qui ça et il supposé faire mais faut avoir patience tout ou pas qu'à faire une fois ou 2 fois et puis tu n'as pas fait li ou je dis ah m'bouke m'vague et l'école a montré le fait non ti moun remet pour consistant avec si vous faites aujourd'hui, il faut faire demain, il faut faire l'après-demain. Même si c'est difficile, côté ti moun nan ouais que ou give up ou bien ou dit ou lever mon lait, ti moun nan dit ah, m'prend voir ça. Il dit que faut consistant ti moun nan pour continuer même si c'est difficile pour 2 semaines, continuer. Parce que c'est comme ça ti moun apprend, c'est comme ça moun apprend. Répétition. Lors répéter balan plusieurs fois, il connaît que c'est ça qui et ça supposé faire. Il dit que si tu es plus grand, il supposé cacher ta faire. Mais puis petit et ou obligé faire plusieurs fois et commencer à faire de petit à petit. Donc comme on a commencé 30 minutes et puis 1 heure de temps et puis 1 heure de temps et demi, 2 heures de temps et pour bâtir mon break tout. Pas que tu n'achètes la toute journée, dit OK, al courir, bien marcher ou bien monter descendre, commencer à retirer tout jouet timoniable jouer tout et Xbox, PlayStation, depuis qu'on a commencé à retirer ça. Commencer ou pas retirer brusquement mais commencer à retirer OK m'a juste bon 1 heure de temps jeudi ou bien 2 heures de temps jeudi parce que ti moun a joué toute journée depuis lever jusqu'à la nuit pour dormir bien tard commencer faire ti moun dormir puis bonheur commencer effectivement manger à l'heure tout ça pas de faire pendant été commencer faire et pour yo gon structure la caille qu'il y a pour connaître que les jours arrivés parce que c'est pas qu'une structure et puis jour arrive au dit mettre bagay c'est madame garde autant qu'on fou mais commencer mettre structure dans le pays qu'on y a là à dormir bonheur et si tu manger bien bah tu manger n'importe junk là tu manger commencer faire manger ça supposé manger faire manger bien commencer par vitamines multivitamines tout ça là donne tout parce que si brain ti moun et cerveau ti moun nan genre il fait ça pendant tout le temps ça yo il mange n'importe comment qu'on pas dit pour l'apprendre de géométrie ou bien addition multiplication qu'on a dit OK m'pa changer ça dire commencer par aux vitamines commencer au manger et bon feuille commencer par on dit
D'accord. All right. Comment pour capable faire un petit monde qui a autisme chita pour un bon temps, une bonne période de temps?
Avec un petit monde qui a autisme, ça différent lui-même. Ça vraiment différent parce que même dans l'école là, il pas quitté parce que chaque petit monde ça a un plan pa yo. Il dit que un petit monde ou une classe qui a 5 petits monde qui a autisme mais plan une pas semble à l'autre. Il dit que ou pas cap ces plans par là même si la caille pour qu'il y ait des plans ça même genre. Ti monde si c'est 10 minutes pour le travail ou a qu'un belly pour 10 minutes là et puis ti monde qui a autisme tout aussi ou il y aurait mes structures. Ou pas qu'à changer ba yo n'importe comment. Ou pas qu'à faire un bagage aujourd'hui, et puis après, ou dit, OK, demain, on va faire un bagage. Et il prend temps pour vraiment apprendre ou bien pour assimiler, soit montrer. Ouais. Il dit que si on dit 30 minutes, on fait travail pour 30 minutes, on va on break, et puis, ou bien, on va remet. Et puis, souvent, c'est pour remet pour jouer, you know, différents bails, remet fait. So, on connaît ça, remet fait, hein. Et puis, on va break là pour ça. Et puis, on dit, OK, on connaît après 10 minutes ça, hein, on va retourner faire travail encore pour l'autre 30 minutes. Maintenant, l'école, on fait ça tout. Il n'y a pas qui dans 15 mois, même si vous êtes dans l'école pour 8 heures de temps, dans l'école, moi, on a un que après chaque une heure de temps, il faut aller marcher l'école là. So, nous quitter et classe, marcher et faire 2 tours et escalier avec tout le monde et puis retourner. L'IPA à travail fonctionner si pas fait ça. Il dit que faut qu'on ait gentil monde fonctionner pour pas dire non. Si c'est 20 minutes, ben, et pas juste 20 minutes et puis les deux qui fini. Chaque jour, c'est pour dire, OK, je dis, après 2 semaines ou bien 3 mois, on va dire, OK, on a fait 30 minutes. Parce qu'on a ouais, les cafés. Et puis, mais c'est pour continuellement, il faut toujours être sous même horaire là. Et si on va changer horaire là, si on va changer plan, on va dire, OK, semaine prochaine, on va commencer à 30 minutes. Qu'on a pu y parce que ça qui veut l'air au final habitué on bagaille et puis après on dit on va différent ça et ça son trigger pour eux. Un bac à fait tout est-ce que utiliser qui ça utiliser qui peut en calmer tout gain ti moun chita sous chaise et yo vend dans Amazon et puis pas chita sur une chaise normale chaise en jambe et déplacer avec eux. So ça qui te bring you en place parce que quand you a move ou ka chege on ba ou ka mette en bas et chaise yo côté de la move comme ça. So y a prend pied yo move so au lieu comme so c'est comme si yo pas senti yo était en place. So il y a plusieurs ba ou ka acheter dans Amazon qui pour kebe yo chita depuis longtemps mais faut qu'on quitte faut qu'on ti moun et parce que t'as pas marché pour tout le monde parce que ti moun travail et tu c'est avec c'est à terre ou chita fait devoir dans toute classe ou chita à terre.
Okay.
Parce que c'est ça au sentir yo ni couché à terre mais à faire devoir yo pas qu'à dormir yo pas qu'à porter tes oreillers pour tes draps yo chita à terre mais ça c'est un genre yo sentir confortable c'est dire que faut juste chercher exactement ça confortable avec tout le monde et puis ou additionner sur lui.
Sorry, Dr. Azor. The person asked the question in English, and I asked you in Creole. So
I'm so sorry.
I'm not sure if they. No, it's my bad. I'm not sure if they speak English or Creole because they asked in English. So say it in English, please. Well, I promise. We're gonna so it's pretty much consistency with the child that has autism.
Yes. The thing is all depends on the age of the student with autism. So the thing is with student with autism, I mean that's why it's called a spectrum because there's a wide range on when it comes to autism. That's why it's called they are on a spectrum because it could be wide range. So you must also know where the student is on the spectrum. In our county, we have different level. And I'm sure it's probably the same thing in Florida. Is the student at level 1, level 4, level 3 of on the spectrum? A level 4 tends to do things on their own. They tend to they're able to follow instruction much quicker. If they are level 2, then it's a bit more challenging. So it's the way to train and educate a student with autism into staying longer. First of all, you have to be consistent. There have to be consistency, because without that, you just throw them off. And that's, I think, most kids anyway. So if you are going to, and if that student need a break within 30 minutes or 40 minutes of work, then it's okay. Then the kid need to stop, and then you give that kid that break. And the break might be, hey, since they're home, okay, they probably need their favorite snack. So you give them their favorite snack, and then after you eat your snack, that's your break. So then you go back into doing work. I was saying in Creole, there are some of them that are very, tactile. So they have to constantly rolling something. So you could get a squeegee ball. Some of them, there are chairs for students who has to move all the time. And I know Amazon, I believe, sell those chairs where the chair is constantly moving. So the chair is moving constantly, so which get the kids to remain, because the move they need doesn't mean that they need a brain move. They just need their body to move. So when they are sitting on that chair that's constantly moved, they're getting their stimulation, because that's what they basically looking for, that stimulation. So they get that. Sometimes, they sell those rubber band you could put on a chair, and then they put their feet on the rubber band, and then they do this with their feet. So they're getting that simulation. There are times that it's a Velcro you could put under a desk. So then they constantly touching that Velcro. Again, that stimulation get them to be centered, or grounded, if you want to use that word. But there are some kids, like I was saying earlier, we had a kid in our school where the student had to walk around after an hour. So then the child will work for an hour, and then the teacher would, they have a co-teacher, would actually walk around twice with that student and then go back to work. So then you have to identify where the student is, and the kind of simulation. And of course, there's a lot of training, and if they do something, no, this is not the time. So then you have to explain every single time the reason why, and what is it. Don't just explain and that's it, but you have to replace it with what is the proper thing. So it's not to say, well, don't do this, but you say, don't do this because A, B, C, D, E.
I think Dr. Azor, internet has a problem, some technicalities. It just froze. Hopefully, she will come back to say good night, parce que nous t'apral fermer de toute façon. So we're gonna give it a couple of minutes. Je crois que c'était réellement bien avec notre sœur, Dr. Nadège Azor, qui était réellement porté en pile information sur la rentrée des classes qu'a fait gen côté qui fait déjà, et gen l'autre état qui pral fait dans semaine là, ou bien l'autre semaine dans quelques semaines. So nous réellement reconnaissante à Dr. Azor de ce que il était capable là, il te répondre présente à invitation ça que nous t'ai fait là, pour te venir parler, converser et ben nous des informations, il était capable d'éduquer nous pour façon comment pour nous flexibles avec situation Covid, ça pour nous pas trop rigide en termes de le témoignage pour retourner à l'école là, pour nous chercher qui façon qui mieux la meilleure façon pour nous capable adapter, pour nous capable nous-mêmes tout aider yo à adapter, au lieu que nous faisons plus frustré ou bien gain plus anxiété. Donc nous croyons que nous t'avons demandé quelques ressources. Nous capables de mettre le link ça yo en bas broadcast ça. S'il vous plaît, si vous regardez sur Facebook, nous demandons encore pour partager broadcast ça. Si vous regardez sur YouTube, nous demandons pour like it right now, pour commenter, pour partager, et puis tout pour capable abonner à YouTube channel Sarah Batroni. Donc, Dr. Azor, je pensais que était capable peut-être get back on si encore, but semblait que ça pas fait anyway. You see her picture, and I'm sure she will go back and see it. So, Dr. Azor, from the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of the heart of the Haitian community, on behalf of the Haitian community at large in the United States and Haiti, because we do have viewers in Haiti as well. We thank you, and for all the parents here in the States, the American parents, the Hispanic parents, whatever nationality or ethnic background who may have benefited from this broadcast, we thank you. We thank God for you, for the knowledge that you are able to share with us tonight. So all of you, thank you so much for watching. Until we see each other again next Thursday night at 7:30, please tune in tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock as we get into the study of God's Word. We are studying the Word of God, the Bible, this month, because it is the Word of God who puts us in possession of God's promises of everything that the Lord has for us. And she's back to say goodnight. Dr. Ezor,
Yes,
take it away
I'm
and
so
say
sorry. I
goodnight.
mean, it's
Yes,
been
yes.
raining badly here,
Wow.
and it was thunderstorm, and lights
We
went out.
understand. We understand. Go ahead, and we thank you again. Please say good night to the viewers. And this is your platform. If you have any information that you do want to share anytime, you're welcome to come back.
Okay, thank you so very much. I appreciate it. It's been very nice having that talk with the group. And again, like I said, it is I love doing what I do. I love um, working with kids. So because I always think that kids they don't know until we teach them. We teach every single thing, but we don't teach behavior. So we always think bad kids and bad this, but then we have to teach kids how to behave. Um, and and I love it. And I always say that you made a mistake, but you could do better. And I am an optimistic in that term. And I just think that what you're doing is wonderful. That to inform our people, our population, and a group of of people out there, and that's very very good. And I commend you for that, and just keep up the good work.
Thank you so much. God bless you. And until we see each other again, be well. And
Okay,
we'll keep in
thank you.
touch.
Good
God
night.
bless you. Thank you. Good night, everybody.